The next thing I'm going to show you how to forge is just a flattened out piece of metal, which can be very helpful for creating all kinds of fun shapes and also for allowing you to create joints using rivets. So I'm going to heat the metal. In this case, I'm going to heat about the last inch of the metal. And I'm moving it in and out of the flame and rotating it so I get everything cherry red all at once. Then I'm going to bring it over to my anvil. And I'm just going to wail on it. Turn it over. So you can see I'm flipping it. Until I get that metal nice and flat. If I want this to be a little bit more squared off and less of kind of a paddle shape, I'll reheat my metal. Being careful because it's pretty thin now. And I'll put it on vertically and tap until I get back to more of a squared edge. So that's flattening your metal. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to use this to drill a hole and eventually join things together. Now that we have a flat piece of metal, our next step is to learn our first power tool in Sculpture 1, and that is the drill. Our drills are located over on the brown cabinet next to where you get your bolt cutters and your tape measures and all of that. There's sort of a tan cabinet. Just open that up and they're on the top shelf, usually towards the right. So you'll want to find one of these. Most of our drills are what are known as hammer drills, which mean they have a switch on the top that has two settings. One that shows a little hammer symbol and one that shows a little drill symbol. You always want to make sure if you get one of these that it's turned towards the drill symbol. You will also need for this a power cord to plug into a power supply, and you'll need a drill bit. That is something you will have to get from me. We keep the drill bits for this particular class in a safe place so that they don't get beat up. And then finally you want a piece of wood. We don't ever want to drill directly on the concrete because we will kill our drill bit pretty fast. These pieces of wood can be found right outside the main door to the studio, leaning up against the outside of the building. So I'm going to get started by setting up my drill. First thing I need to do is put the drill bit in. So to do that, I'm going to open up this collar right here. It just hand screws open and closed, and you should be able to see that these three pieces in the center are moving closer together or further away. So I'm going to open it up so that it's wide enough for my drill bit to fit in here. And then I'm going to start closing it down, and I'm going to kind of balance the drill bit in the center so that it stays more or less straight up and down. I'm going to tighten it down as much as I can by hand, but just tightening by hand is not enough. The drill bit will come flying out of here. So attached to the cords of most of these drills is a little key that looks like this. You're going to put that key in one of these holes so that the little ridged parts match with the ridges on the drill. And then you're just going to righty-tighty, hand tight so that drill bit is really in there. Now right now, the drill isn't plugged in. I usually put my drill bit in without it plugged in. So I'm going to go ahead and set it on the ground and plug it in. It's going to be good practice for us with most of the power tools we use in this class to start them up while they're sitting on the ground, just in case for some reason they'd be fixed in the on position. We don't want them to drill into our leg or something. So just for safety's sake, I'm going to wrap these two cords together and tie them a little bit so that they don't come accidentally unplugged. And then the trigger of the drill is right here. And if I can push it, I see it starts to spin. Now on the bottom side of the drill, there's a little switch like this with two arrows next to it, a forward arrow and a back arrow. If it seems like when you start to drill, nothing is happening, double check that this hasn't been accidentally set to reverse. When it's going forward the right direction, it will be spinning clockwise. Okay, so our drill is all set up. We've got our piece that we want to drill here, our little flat forged element that we used, or that we created, and I'm going to just drill a hole right in here so that I can eventually put a rivet in here, which will be one of your other demo videos. Okay, to drill our piece, we're going to put 1 foot on the piece to hold it in place. We're going to take our arm on that same side and rest it on that leg, put the drill in the hand here so that the hand is on top and can put some pressure downwards. I'm going to line up the drill bit where I want it to be on my metal, and then I'm going to push down a little bit to help hold it in place when I pull the trigger. When you pull the trigger, the most common mistake is to do it really fast, and then the thing goes skittering off here and you get startled. So you want to pull the trigger nice and slow until you're sure it's in place. You'll start to see little shavings of metal come out. You can speed it up once you're sure you've got it where it needs to be. I'm pushing down to hold it in place, but I'm not putting a ton of pressure on it, letting the drill do the work. With metal, it's good to rest things a little bit, blow the shavings out, reseat your drill. This metal gets really hot, so be careful. Creates a lot of friction. By stopping, you not only rest the metal, but you give yourself a chance to see where you are. So you see I punched through there. The second that you're through, you're going to stop the drill, because if you keep going, you're going to go through the board into the concrete floor and you're going to ruin our drill bit. If you start drilling and it seems like there's no shavings coming off, or that you can't get the drill to go through very easily, come talk to me, because maybe somebody screwed up and went through the board. Okay, so got that nice and drilled here. I'm going to be careful when I touch the drill because the drill bit is hot from the friction, but I'm going to go in reverse to wrap things up. So I'll take my key, place it in one of the holes of the drill counterclockwise to loosen that drill bit. Then I can unloosen it with my hand the rest of the way, get it out of there. I'm going to unplug my drill, and then I'm going to wrap the cord up. Brian, painter, likes it wrapped a certain way. He likes it wrapped around and then crisscrossed, figure-eighted like this. Okay, and then I will take a disinfectant wipe this off, wipe off the drill bit, and put everything away. This goes back in the cabinet. This drill bit comes back to me. This cord gets wrapped up, and this board goes back up outside. If it's your first time using a drill, when you do this, please call me over. I'm happy to step you through these steps in person as well.